Jenkins.
That sucked. And you suck.
They're receiving our content.
The internet can totally see you now, brah.
Stop, use your encoder, dude. Oh,
Come on, brah. I gotta make our post on the Facebook, brah.
Oh, yeah, don't you know?
Oh, Smirgan Gurgan.
Smirgan Jurgen from Diergen.
Smirgan Gurgan from Diergen.
What are we doing on part 3?
We are doing the Pentagon. This is the one he called me and was like,
Pentagon.
yeah, so
texted you, I think.
Oh yeah, text. So Flight 77's pretty fucked up. Or what'd you say?
I don't recall.
Something like that. I'm like, yep. Shit's pretty weird.
Yeah, there's not really about it.
Comprehensive. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
World Trade Center.
Let's see. Copy video URL. Paste these.
Eric, never forget.
I won't.
You might.
I will not.
Remember the Alamo.
Oh, definitely remember the Alamo.
It's in the basement. At the
Basement
Alamo.
of the Alamo.
The stars at night are big and bright.
Here in the heart of Texas.
Oh, here's something interesting. On 9/11, Warren Buffett, an investor in unmanned aerial vehicle maker MITRE, hosted a breakfast meeting of World Trade Center CEOs at Alfred Air Force Base, where President Bush later landed.
That's where he landed?
That's where he landed, yeah. And Warren Buffett was there hosting a breakfast for all the World Trade Center CEOs. That's where Bush landed. You know who Warren Buffett is, right?
Yes, he's the guy that went in the buffet.
No, it's Jimmy Buffett's brother.
Oh, I got you. Let's see. Gotta do some hashtagging. Hashtagging a little coat.
Hey, couldn't we have just brought Iraq some, like, democracy instead of blowing up our own buildings?
I don't know. I'm not the guy you gotta ask, Alex.
What? And what are you sitting in the captain's seat for?
That's fair. Samson, I'm sorry. Do. All right, our post is made.
We need to figure out that was a 280-degree corkscrew turn at a. What was
for
it?
The Pentagon?
Yeah, it was.
Google the mother. You got the information right
I
at your
can't remember what it
fingertip.
was.
If I would have told you back in the day that there was going to be an information superhighway, you'd be like, "Cool." Wouldn't you?
I said,
Remember back when the internet was called that?
Use it.
The information superhighway.
What movie was that?
No, that was just what they called it back in the early
There was
90s.
Some movie. Oh, Cable Guy.
Cable guy.
That's where I remember that term from.
Had a Jack Black in it, young Jack Black. Did you ever see the Air Up, or what was it? What was that skating movie where they were on the inline skates? It had Jack Black in it. Had Seth Green. He played
Devil's
Airborne.
Backbone? Oh, yeah.
Airborne. Yeah.
They had to go down the Devil's Backbone.
That's right. Yep.
So
I'm ready when you guys are ready.
I'm not ready yet.
You're not ready yet?
No, I have to figure out that too. I think it's a 280-degree.
Barack Obama and Joe Biden were doing laps around the White House this morning, and Obama came flying around the finish line 10 seconds flat, and he looked at Biden and said, "Damn, it must be some kind of record." And Biden looked at Barack and said, "Nope, Bush did 9/11."
Damn, dude.
Oh, that's a good one.
I liked it.
I got one for you. Roses are red. Harambe's in heaven. Everyone knows George Bush did 9/11.
And start. Hey, welcome to Lineup Media Group Podcast. This is Surreal Talk with Eric and Everett.
And Alex.
I'm here today.
You are here. We've had to do the last 2 shows, like, I'm not going to say solo, but as a duet instead of a triplet.
Does it,
Trio.
Does it,
Trio.
Right there.
Is the
Tripulo.
feel as well? Does it feel as good with just one other dude, or
You know what?
prefer two
I don't
dudes?
know. I think the shows, like, You would think adding another person could add some extra time to the show or whatever. But it really does. Like, just one extra person can double how long a show is because you got 2 extra dynamics.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, well,
It's
why
not
you
just
guys
about
are...
length, but it's about girth, and it's about... Oh, that's not what I meant.
Well, it's not the motion of the ocean or the size of the boat, but the skill of the sailor, and everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that. People talk about that.
Well, while you guys are having a conversation about one thing, I can be thinking of another interjection point, which helps.
Don't do that.
It gets us confused.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I need some of that chocolate.
I'm sorry, dude.
Fucking Neanderthal.
You like Heath? Here's some Heath.
I don't know what that is. Super chewy?
It's got like toffee on the inside of it.
Is that like,
Not taffy, toffee.
is that like tar?
I don't know. Not too scared.
How do you feel about Dakota Pipelines?
She's a good actress.
That's
I
fanning
feel
it.
about it like this.
Oh.
All right, let's do it, man.
So the judge approved them to dig through the Dakota, the native reservation land, but then they decided not to do it anyway. That way, when all the protesters leave, then they'll do it.
So the alleged pilot of Flight 77, Hani Hanjour, was a notoriously bad pilot.
That's what they say about all of them. They didn't have the training to pull any of this.
None of the stuff, yeah, right. All right, so come on, man, we roll that beautiful bean footage.
This podcast is brought to you by lineupmedia.fm.
Welcome back, my friends.
You're listening to Surreal Talk, a look inside the world of cults, conspiracies, and the paranormal. Brought to you by lineupmedia.fm.
The whole truth about JFK, 9/11, Area 51, the Illuminati.
You gotta take that whole truth thing out.
Jesus and Magdalene, the CIA, KGB, and AIDS, the reptilian elite, Watergate, the New World Order, Bilderberg, the MK Ultra Project, the history of the world and the oppression of the human consciousness.
I think we need to go back to roll opening too.
God, the devil, heaven,
You like a shorter one?
hell, and the
Oh, yeah.
delicate fabric.
Shorter one's way better.
You gotta say, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore.
Now your hosts, Eric and Everett.
Welcome to Surreal Talk.
Surreal Talk.
Surreal Talk, a lineupmedia.fm production brought to you this week and every week by audible.com
And Amazon.com.
and amazon.com.
What's the significance?
About what?
If you
Amazon.
log on to surrealtalkpodcast.com, you can click the Amazon banner, and then anything you purchase will directly support our show.
Really?
Out of left field with that, Alex.
Never fucking heard that.
Pretty neat
Or
feature.
you can go to surrealtalkpodcast.com/Amazon. I don't think anybody's ever did that.
Never.
Any of it.
I know. We're probably just going to have to stop.
No, I'd like at least one person
One of
to
these
try
days.
it.
One of these days.
Do it until somebody does it.
I'm going to do it.
All right, you guys.
Part 3.
Part 3. We are back with our big 9/11 extravaganza, and on part 3, we're talking about dun 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 the Pentagon. So, what do you guys know about the Pentagon, man?
The Pentagon is the one the other day when, like you said before, whenever I was doing any research. That was the one that's like, all right, come on. Now this one here, you didn't even try.
Right.
You didn't even try.
So Everett texted me the other day, you know, because we try to keep in touch as we're doing our research, and he's like, you know, he's more of the non-believer. And he texts me, and he's like, yeah, so that Flight 77's pretty fucked up. I'm like, yep, it sure is.
That
Let me see if I
was-
could find the exact text.
That was the flight that hit the Pentagon.
That was
building,
that was
77.
that was the flight that hit the Pentagon. Well,
I mean,
allegedly hit the Pentagon.
the
I'm
official
going
story
with
says it
supposedly the flight that supposedly hit the Pentagon.
well, there's a lot. I don't know. That's the biggest defense building in America.
That's the most well defended and secure building on this continent. I mean,
It's the head of all of our army.
It makes Fort Knox look like a bitch, is what you're saying, right?
right. And man, dude,
It's the public face of our military-industrial complex.
right. That's where NORAD's at.
NORAD's in Colorado, isn't it?
Nah, hang on one sec. I'll tell you right now.
But I know that's where the Secretary of Defense goes in emergencies.
Oh, that's not. He's no longer Assad anymore, is he?
Oh no. Okay, so the commander of NORAD head joins the staff, Secretary of Defense. Okay, they get budget increase.
I said pretty much sure Flight 77 story is BS. It's all unraveling.
Yeah.
That's it.
All will
That's all I
be
say. You didn't even
revealed,
reply.
my child.
It makes sense.
I didn't
if-
even reply.
No, let's talk about that. How come you never reply to me anymore? Now that I've got you on the hot seat, it's like I text you all the time, and I know your fucking phone's right there, man. I know that phone ain't ever more than 2 feet away from me.
I don't know what I don't have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, I reply all the time.
In your head, maybe. You're like, oh, I read it and replied like out loud, but
Yeah.
I can't hear that shit.
It's like, hey, Flight 77 was bullshit. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. I'm like, I guess he doesn't like me anymore.
So, so the whole thing with the Pentagon was a plane hit it,
So they say.
or so they say.
Hey, get your mic a little more twisted. Like,
So-
you know how you keep it turned? Yeah, there you go. That's,
If you guys look at any
Oh,
of
now
the
you
pictures and
sound good.
stuff from the outside of the Pentagon, there's no wreckage, no bodies, no seats,
oh, that shit got
no
blown inside the building,
passports,
man.
no passports. You know, fuck, we had the passport at the Twin
Even
Towers.
just the number of pictures you find is surprisingly small.
Right. Yeah, well, yeah, that's like the.
I remember that day there, they had footage of like the fire trucks like blowing water onto it.
No, they had
and
big foam trucks out and everything. See, so the grass in front of the Pentagon is not touched at all. And you'd think if
There'd might be a trail.
There'd be
Unless
something.
That's the best. Like, think about the skill it takes to keep a plane that large hovered off the ground. You know what I mean? Without touching down a little. If these guys were
Are you ready
amateurs,
for it? You ready for it?
what?
Okay, so a pilot that actually flew the exact plane that hit the Pentagon. Mm-hmm. He was a American
Not
Airlines
the
pilot.
same model, the same plane.
The same plane.
Sure.
That hit the Pentagon.
Like the exact craft.
Same
Yeah.
one.
All right.
Same one.
Same VIN, man. Check the DMV.
Yeah. So he flew the same plane. And he says that the instrumentation on board those 767s will not allow you to do an 8,000-foot descending 270-degree corkscrew turn coming exactly level with the ground to hit the Pentagon. See, so what happened was the Pentagon here, he came from the rear
Came all the way around.
and descended 8,000 feet, a 270-degree corkscrew turn to hit exactly where he needed to hit. And when I say where they needed to hit, there's a reason they hit where they hit.
Well,
Yeah, why didn't he just fly straight into it? Why did he need to do
yeah, why
a
wouldn't
big
you just
corkscrew?
kind of land it right in the fucking middle? You
Right
know
in
what
the
I mean?
why would-
Bullseye.
Yeah, you could go through the center and
Yeah,
hit
you
the
don't even
building.
gotta like coast into. Why not spike your shit
Right
into
into the top. Yeah, you could just.
lawn dart.
Well, let me answer that for you. So on 9/10/2001, which is, as everyone knows, the day before 9/11,
Holy shit.
Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld came out and publicly announced that the Pentagon could not account for $2.3 trillion of defense spending. They just didn't know where it was at. $2.3 trillion in defense
That's
spending.
more than a little.
That's the day before 9/11. Okay, so Flight
That
70.
hold on, let's think about that there.
That's
That-
more
that
than
you
the-
can make 2.3 million millionaires.
I think at the time that was more than the national debt, wasn't it?
That's a lot of money, dude. That's a lot of money
That's
to be
like-
missing, and a
let's
lot
take
of money to not
Tennessee
know where it's at.
and turn everybody there into a millionaire, man, woman, child, or whatever. I'm not saying Tennessee is exactly 22.2 million, but you know, it's a
Well,
small state.
trillion. You could turn every person in America into a million.
No, you couldn't. It's
300
2.2
million?
million because it's 1,000 millions. So that's 2,000 millions.
Yeah.
I don't have my calculator, but
I'm actually pretty good at math. I play a dumbass on the show, but take my word for it.
300 million times 10. What's that?
300 million times 10 is 30 million.
3
Oh,
billion.
wait a minute, 3 billion.
Come on, man.
Okay, maybe I
Get
am
your shit
shitty.
together. All right, so back to what I was talking about. The day before, Donald Rumsfeld, the Secretary of Defense, announced there's $2.3 trillion missing
the
from the
money go,
defense
Remy?
budget. And wouldn't you know, the plane hit the Pentagon in the budget analyst's office, where they were working on the $2.3 trillion that was missing.
Is it a coincidence that analyst starts with anal?
Ain't I don't know
They're
if there's a
probably pretty
coincidence there or
retentive.
not. I mean, we are talking about
interesting.
9/11. It's conspiracy. Could be
It's interesting either way.
So they nailed right into the accounting
right
room.
into the accounting room, the budget analyst's office, where they were working on the missing $2.3 trillion.
Not anymore, they
And
said.
when you talk about it's missing from the defense, you think it's missing from the Pentagon.
Let me toss
That's
this
the
out
head
for
of
you,
the
though.
defense.
If it was the day before they announced it, you think they can't get that kind of shit pulled together in one day's time? These guys,
No. They announced it the day before 9/11.
Why
Who
even
knows how
bother?
long it took
They
them
Why
to
had
even
plan it?
bother?
They had it planned. They knew this money was missing, but they didn't bother.
Let's
to-
announce it, and then next day the evidence. is
Because there's
What
a
a
thing called
coincidence.
tying up all loose ends.
you wouldn't think they'd be that dumb to make it that obvious, though.
No,
Well,
they
when it-
wouldn't think America was that dumb to notice this. That's what it was. They
That
thought
smart to
America was
notice it,
just
you mean?
stupid. Oh, you ain't gonna notice that shit.
Well, when there's a plan of this magnitude, you're going to take every opportunity you can to get an advantage out of it.
Again,
And
with a plan of this magnitude, not everything's going to go right either. I mean, you've got so many variables and so many different people that
right. And I'm
you
sure
know.
they tried to cut down the variables. And they only wanted 4 planes. They only had had 4 targets, but to get like on 93 to people to comply or not know they were being hijacked in some cases, they could have just went into the cockpit, but because that was before they could even lock cockpit doors.
Right.
But I always heard that airplanes all had an air marshal aboard. That
Well,
had a gun,
now
right?
they do. Now they do because
of this.
Yeah. Okay. But so something that I'm not getting is to be a commercial airline pilot, you have to be like military trained. What I'm getting at is you're not a pussy. If you're an airplane pilot, you have to know how to defend yourself, to handle yourself in cases for situations exactly like this, where someone wants to hijack your plane.
I think of
military-trained combat pilot.
A drunk guy sitting in an airport bar right before he gets on the
pilot.
airplane.
I can fly.
I can fly that plane. And they're notorious for being drunks and working crazy hours and just being unstable in general, which is a weird person to have at the helm of.
Did you ever see the movie
hundreds of
Flight with
lives.
Denzel?
No.
I don't
Basically,
think so.
backs exactly what you're saying up.
Right.
I mean, exactly what you're saying. It's good.
But there's so many inconsistencies in the Pentagon story. So, like, if you look on Google and you look at the size of a 767 plane, and then you look at the actual hole and
In the side
in the
of the
Pentagon, shit just don't match up. The wings should have folded out. They should be on the front lawn. The
They should
tail
have got
section,
knocked off as soon as the fuselage entered the building. The wings should have been clipped
exactly. They should have folded back behind them. The tail section's 42
It
feet
looked like
high.
You would think it would not look like a cartoon and just goes directly in. You know what I mean?
You would think that they don't make cartoon-like holes, but you know what? What happened to the Twin Tower?
off.
Made a cartoon-like
What if it
hole.
was just a fancy painting over the outside and we all saw it? I wonder, that plane was going, 400 miles an hour?
Yeah, it was
when
almost
hit?
500. Almost 500. And that's what that pilot
the
was saying.
plane
They
only
won't
goes,
do that.
The plane only goes up to like 700 max. It was only made to go that fast.
Well, and that's what I was saying earlier. That pilot that flew that plane said that
Was
these
really
planes
good.
will not. Well, okay, so they will not
wreck.
do this. The computer systems in these planes will not let them do this. You can't do
Unless you have advanced knowledge of the inside of the
I mean,
we have no
navigation
evidence to support
system.
that.
No.
Right.
But I'm just looking at a get around for the plane won't do it. And if you know how to work with the plane's navigation system, say you are a highly trained Al-Qaeda asset, you might be able to disable it and manually control it. Who knows if the plane would survive a maneuver like that. But officially it did.
Yeah, I mean,
Officially it hit the building, but the wings should have left a mark on it. You look at the picture, you don't
there's
even
going to
really
be some
see.
panels intact. There's going to be more than just the token picture they showed of the what was it, the landing gear that went through the building.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, that's basically the only thing left was some landing gear.
No, okay, so where's the plane? The plane should be. You should see some plane,
I
some
agree.
bodies, something. Okay, but the
What,
popular
bodies?
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
you know,
didn't they just take them all to like the coroner's office? You know
no,
what
I mean,
didn't they?
there was 123 people that died at the Pentagon, and no, it was 125 died at the Pentagon, and that's not counting the people that were on Flight 77. So you're looking at 200 bodies should be somewhere. Now, granted, some of them might have vaporized, whatever, we're not going to see. But we saw no bodies, no luggage, no seats, no fuselage, no wings, no tail section,
Right.
nothing.
And like they said with, I believe it was building the North Tower, when a plane hit it, they found the guy's passport from the plane.
They found the hijacker's passport.
So how come a passport can survive that plane wreck, but nothing, not even luggage could survive?
not
the
even
one
a
at
seat.
The Pentagon.
Right, yeah,
And
that was a very, very...
They did find the Flight 93 in Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah,
They went out and-
Shanksville.
They found the debris of that plane, the black box and everything, didn't they?
No, okay, so the coroner for that said that it looked like somebody dumped a scrap truck right there. There's, again, no plane, no bodies. He said to this
No
day
giant
he
engine
is
blocks or
never saw
jet-
one drop of blood, never saw a bone, never saw a body, never saw a seat, nothing. And that's the coroner that investigated
He
the
has to
site.
approve that they are dead. That's his
Right,
job.
and he never saw. He will on record says he never saw a single drop of blood to this day, and it just looked like a scrap truck backed up and dumped a whole load of scrap. Didn't even look like a plane there in '93. The one that went down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Yes. So that's what I'm saying, man. That's crazy. Everything doesn't add up with this story.
Whenever that plane hit the Pentagon, they were trying to find Secretary of Defense Rumsfeld at the time, and he was nowhere to be found. Eventually, about 20 minutes later, they found him to take him to the Situation Room, but he was unaccounted for during the time the plane actually hit the building.
Right. Well, I knew all the top brass were in the complete. I mean, the furthest away from where the Pentagon was hit, that's where all the top brass were. The very furthest away from where the plane hit in the Pentagon. That's where the top brass were. Okay, so what we're talking about here is the best defended building in the world. The best. I mean, okay, so if you
Not
look at
so
the
well
videos,
defended. I mean,
if you look at the videos of the Pentagon before the attacks.
How come I haven't seen the video of the plane just hitting the building?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So they have CCTV cameras all over the Pentagon. You can even see in right after the plane crashed into it, right above at the top, there's a fucking video camera right there. Where's that footage at?
Not even 100
Where's
feet
that
away.
footage? Not yeah.
the
Right
Pentagon
there.
doesn't give out its video footage.
Okay, so
sir.
what I'm saying is, for the most recorded and the most secure building in this continent, we got 5 still frames of with one frame missing in there and no plane. We didn't get to see a plane. We saw an explosion and 5 still frames from the fucking Pentagon. This is the Pentagon.
I don't think you're happy with their story.
And the guy, what was it, a gas station across the street?
Right, that's the video that most of us
That's
have
the
seen.
damning one, yeah. So the FBI confiscated that the very next day from the gas station across the street. Have you guys heard about the light poles? No?
Light poles.
Nothing about the
yeah,
light poles.
like the flight path of the airplane.
Exactly, the flight path of the airplane. So the airplane that supposedly hit the Pentagon should have
Supposedly?
Yeah, supposab with a B. So it should have took this flight path, and it should have ran through like 4 light poles. Okay, well, these light poles were just laid on the ground, knocked over.
Yeah, I don't see how that could be.
Right, that's what I'm saying, man. Okay,
Wait, they
here's
were? Well, so it did hit them? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but they weren't hit.
Oh.
They weren't hit.
What?
Yeah, right. Okay. And furthermore, if you hit a steel light pole with the wing of your plane, what's going to happen to the wing of your plane?
It ain't going
It
to be
ain't going to do
good.
much to that wing of that plane, I don't think.
It's aluminum.
I still think it's going to, like,
It's still
It's going to shear it off. If you're traveling 500 miles an hour,
I doubt that.
Yeah,
Come
but
on, man.
those steel poles aren't connected to the ground but by like 12, 1-inch bolts. So it will hurt your wing, but I don't know if it's going to rip it off or anything like that.
okay, so here's another damning piece of evidence. The Pentagon is less than 10 miles from Andrews Air Force Base. At the time whenever the plane hit the Pentagon, it was 80 minutes into the attack on September 11th.
So the first one had already been hit almost an hour and a half earlier?
80 minutes prior to the Pentagon being hit was when the first World Trade Center was hit. 80 minutes. So we've been under attack for an hour and a half almost.
And they don't have...
And they're 10 minutes away from Andrews Air Force Base.
And they were, at this time, trying to ground every flight in America.
How did the Pentagon even get fucking hit?
Right.
You're 10 minutes away from an Air Force base, and we've been attacked for an hour and a half. Are you shitting me right now?
And I heard earlier that they were watching all their radars to try to track these planes, try to figure out which one might still have a hijacker on it. And they said, well, our internal radars aren't as good because we got all our radars pointing externally, trying to find external threats. And I
In
thought,
case there's missiles or something coming out.
and I thought, well, that's a strange thing. You'd think there would just be radars all over this nation tracking everything. And apparently the military uses like longitude and latitude to track the planes, and then the FAA has a grid system they use based on the points of radar. Mm-hmm. So they couldn't even communicate accurately with each other where these planes were.
Wow.
Because they
Now
had two
that's
different
news.
ways to measure where the flights were.
That's pretty interesting. I also thought that it says here, Hani Hanjour, the alleged pilot of Flight 77, was a notoriously bad pilot. He had never actually flown a jet before. The only experience he had flying was single-engine Cessnas.
What?
Yeah,
So-
he had
and he's the pilot of
He's the pilot that did the 8,000-foot, 270-degree corkscrew turn to come
Something
level
you-
with the ground and hit it right in the budget of Lannister.
something you could only pull off in a small single-engine Cessna.
No, yeah, something you couldn't pull off in that plane, and you'd have to have way more experience
think
than this guy.
You'd
ever
have to
had.
have 2,000 hours of co-pilot
It's like the fucking
experience
Red
or
Baron or something was the pilot.
Right? Yeah,
I thought that was mandatory. You had to at least co-pilot before you pilot one of these things.
Yeah, that's what I would think. And I want to know, how come the military how come they weren't there? How did the Pentagon even get hit? It was an hour and a half after the attack had already started, and they're 10 minutes away from an Air Force base. Why weren't the jets scrambled? Why weren't they there protecting the Pentagon? That's our nation's defense.
Well, and
right there.
The
We need-
military claims they didn't even have a list of all the flights and where they were supposed to head. So they couldn't even figure out which planes were off course because they couldn't communicate well enough with the FAA.
Okay, so here's a little bit more about that. It says the jets were not scrambled from the nearest bases. The jets were in the air and not vectored to intercept the jetliners. And according to NORAD and the 9/11 Commission timeline, military jets flew at small fractions of their top speeds. So if we're under attack and our nation's under attack, why are you not hauling balls?
They're trying to get somewhere.
Right. They flew at fractions of their top speeds.
Well, it could be a big fraction. Okay.
Okay, even if it was half. I mean,
Right.
Okay, claims that the couldn't be tracked without the contrast ability of the FAA. That wasn't it here. Yeah. I'm squirting through here, right? So we can.
When they first announced to everyone in the Situation Room that Flight 93 had went down, they assumed that one of their fighters had shot it down. They were told at first that it was shot down by a fighter.
That's what I thought.
Cheney gave the go-ahead to shoot down Flight 93. It never happened, but he actually gave the go-ahead to shoot it down.
Well, the plane that was closest to us, they interviewed the pilot, and I watched this on the History Channel earlier today. They had a 9/11 special. Well, they interviewed the pilot, and he said he only had training rounds in his weapon that they would shoot, but they wouldn't burst upon impact like a normal round would.
Really?
So he was going to try to hit the cockpit of the plane with his wing and take them out that way, but it ended up crashing before.
Oh, okay. Here's another interesting. It says Rumsfeld says that Flight 93 was shot down. He even says that.
Right.
He announced that they shot down Flight 93, which wasn't
I
happening.
swear that's what I had heard too.
Yeah, but that's not what happened. Obviously, the passengers
Isn't
pulled
the
it
official
down.
story? Yeah, that the passengers
overtook the plane. Yep.
Why the fuck would the passengers down their own plane?
Well,
Because they didn't want
called
to
their
hit-
wives and mothers and were telling them, "Hey, these guys, they're going to attack somebody else. And they're going to kill more people.
but if they
so
were
we're
able to
going
get
take
to the
plane."
point-
They said we're going to take the plane down. We're going to wreck the plane.
Right. So if it's
they
if
even
it's
told
between
their loved ones
if
that
it's
on the
between
phone.
this plane going to the White House and crashing into the White House, or us taking this plane down, I'm with you. Let's take the plane.
Okay, that's not my point. My point is if they were able to overtake the hijackers, why did they just point the plane to the ground instead of like, okay, now walk us through getting us the fuck out of here?
Right.
Who knows if they knew how to fly the plane?
They might have just.
Hey, Tower, are you there? Hey, Tower.
Right.
We've got the fucking plane. There were some guys on here. I don't know if you heard what's going on. But
Anything that's going on in that
Right,
plane
right.
is pure speculation. But I'm thinking they went into the cockpit and a struggle ensued, and they laid on the joystick, and the plane went forward.
joystick.
Well, I'm not sure. Controls, okay.
I guess they do call it a stick, so maybe
Right.
it's only joyful.
It's only joyful when
having
you're
fun.
not driving it into the ground to save
Yeah,
other
I guess.
people's lives. You know.
What else you got for us here, ET?
Why is the impact hole so small?
Yeah, I've
Why
always
is the
wondered that,
impact
too.
hole so small? If it's from a 767, like I said, the tail section of that's like 42 feet high off the ground.
Wow, and that's
Right.
sitting on the landing gear, obviously.
Right, yeah,
But
so-
they weren't directly on the ground. There was no skid marks beforehand.
Yeah, so it didn't touch the ground. You know,
No,
the
I
plane
could-
didn't touch the ground because there was no skid marks on the lawn.
It's hard to tell what was there though, because if you think about it, gross, the amount of like rescue vehicles that would have driven right over where like in the grass and everything just to get up close to that, they would have turned the ground over.
Right.
Right, but we would have still seen some sort of wreckage.
Wreckage, sure, but I'm not
I
saying.
would think.
Well, I'm not saying skid marks were have to be used as an indicator.
Okay,
Well,
right.
I believe in the official report was it never touched the ground, that it came in at a slight
And
angle.
at a perfect fucking javelin throw.
Yeah.
I wonder
Like an arrow.
if it was actually parallel to
No,
the ground.
boys,
at the
I don't
time.
buy it.
Yeah, I can't get behind the Pentagon one, man. No wreckage. No, the plane was way too big to fit in the hole.
I always hate that.
No footage. How do we not have the footage of this? How can we not see the footage?
There is footage. You
There
can
is
see
footage.
the camera in some of the other pictures.
Oh, there's
of
footage.
The cameras, so it's out there.
Yeah, no bodies, no baggage, and 5 still frames.
The fire. Think about the amount of heat it would have taken to burn that plane to nothing, burn those bodies to
Instantly.
nothing, more or less instantly.
Here's my wait. Follow me here. If there's enough jet fuel on flight 125 to bring down the entire South Tower, where's the big fireball explosion for that one? We didn't get to see that. Why didn't it burn the entire Pentagon down? I mean, jet fuel can't melt steel beams. Give me a fucking break, man. It just brought down 2 towers in
Jet
New
fuel
York.
can't melt the Pentagon.
Jet fuel can't melt the Pentagon, I guess. But you know what I'm saying?
That's fucking crazy, man.
You know what I mean? I mean, come on, man. The jet fuel just took down 2 fucking 100+ story skyscrapers, but Pentagon's cool.
Pentagon was probably built pretty sturdy, I imagine.
I mean, I hope, but
It's not sturdy enough, apparently. When you shoot missiles into it, you can't really handle it.
yeah. I mean, because that's what it is. That's
Well,
what everyone says is a cruise missile. So I mean, you're hearing our allegedly, supposedly, and this and that. I mean, nobody buys the official story for the Pentagon.
Oh, sure they do.
Some people do.
Some people buy it totally.
For the longest part of the time,
I'll buy that
I didn't
for $1.
care. Until the time I looked at the record or the photo, just a picture of it, and without even thinking any conspiracy, I'm like, "Hey, where's the fucking plane?" You know what I mean?
Where's the plane?
Not even thinking conspiracy minded. I was just, where's this fucking wreckage?
Well, some people don't even care enough to look into it or to dig or even scratch the surface. They say, "Oh, there's the story," and then they turn around and go about their day.
Yep. The Pentagon was one of the worst. I wouldn't say it was the smoking gun, which we'll get to that next episode, but it was one of the smoking guns, man. The Pentagon, you can look at it and just see all kinds of shit wrong. There's, nothing makes sense, and the official story doesn't add up. The pictures that you see out front aren't that can't happen with what the official story said. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Not to mention the pilot couldn't fly the plane like that. The plane wouldn't have caused that much damage. I mean, there's just so many inconsistencies in the Pentagon. I don't even really feel like we touched on everything that there was with it, but it was enough because, like, if what you've heard isn't enough to be like, oh, wait a minute, that is fucked up.
Yeah, if it doesn't get you to the point where you want to go to Google and type in Flight 77 Pentagon.
Yep. I mean, yeah, there's nothing that will.
And what's strange is I can always find more information debunking it than I can that even proves. Like, where's the official story to prove it?
Yeah, they're
That's
quite
hard
quick
to
say, hey, here's the official story. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
one
here's why you're
paragraph.
wrong. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
Well, I guess if it hit the ground before it came in, the wings could have sheared off then, and then it would have been a more appropriate size hole.
But we would have still seen the wings somewhere.
Oh, yeah, they would have
been somewhere. I mean, fuck, somewhere.
And
Somewhere.
when the man in the gas station had the camera footage, they never released that.
No, they confiscated
They came
it.
in and confiscated it, and then why wouldn't they release
Never
it?
released it.
I don't know. What good would it do them to release it other than make them, seem like they're not
Well, because if
assholes?
that,
To shut everyone up?
yeah,
Yeah, but is
shut
that the
all these
business they're in?
stupid tinfoil hat guys up.
Is that the business they're in? They don't care two shits about the 1% of the 1% that believes this stuff.
The business they're in is death and money and power. That's the business they're in.
I agree.
Well, what else you guys got on the Pentagon? I think I pretty much wrang the towel dry on that one. So
Yeah, I'm pretty well good on Alexander.
No, I'm just
What's
disappointed.
Alex short for? Are we named Alex? Is that your name?
It's short for A. Oh, I got that backwards. Yes, Mr. Xander, if you will.
Xander?
You can call me Xander.
But that's not how your name.
Alexander.
Alexander. I'm going
Or
to
you
call
call me
Ander.
Lex.
Ander,
Onder with a hard on.
Lex Luthor, hard on.
Yeah, Onder because he's Alexander.
Did you
But I'm
say
going
It's
to
Onder slow.
You ever watch Workaholics?
Oh, yeah.
I'm Onders with a hard on. Anyway. All right. Well, I guess we'll see everybody on YouTube in 10, 15, 20 whenever we get back. Those of you listening through your favorite podcast app, we'll catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Be ready. Sorry for how short these are. I mean, they're not super short, but
Oh no, but
it's just the way we cut them up.
we're getting the content to you though. So
We're trying.
thank you guys for listening, and be sure to catch us on next episode. We'll be talking about World Trade Center
And
7.
do all those other things we told you to do about going to those websites and buying
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
You remember
Info
all
at Surreal Talk
Oh, yeah,
podcast.
if you want to talk to us.
Yeah.
We got actually one of our listeners that sent me an email the other day. I haven't been able to send him a good reply yet. But he was on the YouTube live stream today, so that was nice.
Oh, good.
Anyway, send us an email, info@surrealtalkpodcast.com, and it'll probably be me responding to you, not Eric. He's an asshole.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
feel free to leave a review. How many stars?
And tell us what you think of Alex.
Yeah, we like Alex,
show up
but we want to know
sometimes.
what you
I like
guys
it
think
here.
of Alex.
Reviews. But be careful when you're doing the reviews, because one guy accidentally gave us a low review, and he didn't mean to. No ill will towards that guy, but that was kind of a bummer.
He didn't mean
Kind
to.
of brought our score down a little bit.
Anyway. All right, we'll catch y'all next time.
All right, WTC 7.